We're just going to stand here awkwardly while the stream starts.
I'm going to hold.
We are live from New York. Live from New York.
It's Saturday night. Oh.
It's Wednesday morning. I don't even know what. That's the problem you run into with a lot of these Magento events is you forget what day of the week it is because it's Saturday all day here in New York. So
I had to check my watch.
You had to check your watch to see the day or the time or what?
Yeah, it is. It's Wednesday.
That's such a bummer.
I know.
But we got Shannon here with Creativity. Introduce yourself. Tell people what you do there at Creativity.
Well, I'm a Jay Glazer lookalike for Creativity.
Do they pay you for that? You get like appearance fee?
It's amazing how little money you can make doing that. Now, I am fortunate enough to be the Director of Sales and Marketing for Creativity, and this is my first Meet Magento. So kind of getting introduced to the ecosystem, meeting all the people and the agencies and everything. It's been a really good time.
Now, how many Magento events? This is your first Meet Magento, but how many Magento events? Not meetups, but Meet Magento, Mage Titans, Imagines. How many of those have you done?
A sum total of 1, if you count this one.
Hey guys,
this is your first Magento.
Don't mind me. I'm going to slide into view here, if that's okay. Hey there.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's great.
So your first Magento, like, I feel like he's going to be spoiled though if this is his first one. He's going to have
started
high
off with a bang.
expectations. And you're just going to be disappointed from here on out.
I thought that was Imagine. You're not supposed to start with Imagine.
Well, Imagine is I mean, you can't compete with the mothership when it comes to these kinds of things.
You can try. You can try and you can fail.
They made an attempt here, and they got mighty close.
Yeah.
But it's on a bit smaller scale.
Now, this has been incredible. The venue's been great. The Mage Mojo people have been incredible. Everybody that we've had a chance to meet here has been top-notch. So definitely going to do it again, and just look forward to the next Magento event.
Well, it's another event without the Mage sliders, so I feel like we're breaking some traditions here. Like every event had little small hamburgers. Like every Magento event had little small hamburgers, so it got to where they had the Mage sliders. And now it's like
all I'm saying is ever since Shannon joined the Magento community, the Mage sliders disappeared.
The food has gone down.
Well, the food is great, but the
sliders
sliders are not here. So I'm just saying, I don't know if it's a coincidence or not.
The further investigation is needed.
Well, let's see what's served for lunch.
Oh, I better not speak before. If we get small hamburgers, it's going to be hilarious.
So Creativity is a much-loved agency in the space. Josh and Jenna have done some amazing work and open source work and some neat announcements. You're diving into a really strong team. How's that been for you, and how are you stepping into the shoes?
Well, it's like drinking from a fire hose. It really is. You know, you're trying to memorize the phone book and get started. Yeah, working with a really top-notch agency that's doing so many cutting-edge things, and when that's your first foray into e-commerce and you're kind of learning from the greats, it's been kind of a double-edged sword. It's been a lot to pick up, but it's just fortunate to get it from that source, you know.
I remember whenever I'd DM Josh about, you know, anything at all, lead or something, he'd say, hey, talk to Jenna. Jenna would field things. Now I DM Jess, she says, hey, talk to Shannon. So there, you're freeing them up to work on exciting things, so it's really cool.
Yeah, I think there's some people that are just like, we don't get Jenna anymore, you know, but
tough shoes to fill. Tough shoes to fill.
And they say Shannon, and then they expect a lady to show up, and you know, there's the bald guy. So
I'm in that. My name's Kalen, so it's one of those that can go either way too. So I feel you. I feel you.
Absolutely. So
I mean, you look good, but you know, it's going to be tough to compete with Jenna. You know, that's all I'm saying.
It's got to be tough to start off with the disappointment, though. Like you get on the call with someone, and you just hear the sigh.
Yeah.
It's just like.
Yeah, especially if it's like a video thing. You know, you're going to do like a Zoom meeting, and the screen comes up, and they're expecting Shannon, and there's Shannon, you know.
So. Now, what are you guys working on? What are some of the things you guys are up to?
You know, some of the most exciting stuff that's going on right now is the code that was just contributed to Core. And, you know, the release that's going to come out in Q4 with the one-touch ordering functionality and having Creativity be the ones to write that code and have everybody talking about it. It's really exciting time to be in the business. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we as the Magento community, we jumped on that one-click order thing right quick, so made me proud as a member of the community that right when it was available, we jumped on it.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about it to everybody, and everyone that I've talked to about it has been really excited. So.
One of the things I'm curious about, Are people starting to roll that out? Because, I mean, the implementation is nice and clean and simple, but how do you integrate that into the rest of your e-commerce flows and things like that? Amazon, people have come to expect the one-click order, but without that expectation in place, are people actually starting to roll that out?
You know, we haven't seen it rolled out into production. I think the patent expired in September, so here we are in October, and it's just really kind of the next step out of the box. The announcement's been made, the code's been contributed, so I think everything going forward is going to have that functionality, and it's the next evolution in digital commerce. That's what everyone's going to come to expect. It's going to be the standard now.
The functionality's nice and all, so don't get me wrong, but what excites me the most about it is how much that contribution separates Magento from its competitors, how much it speaks to the day we could have new features, it was available.
That's just the depth of the ecosystem. I mean, you have no idea. Every time you turn around, somebody's going to be contributing something new, and Magento is the only ecosystem that can do that. You know, having all of those developers working on the next evolution of the platform, and to be able to take on something like that and kind of move it to the next phase was just really exciting to see how quick that happened.
And there are other platforms where technically people can do it, but to have a community that's as engaged as the Magento community is really unique. So thanks to your team for doing that. And I know Gary's given us the nod. We got a couple other people we want to get in. Any last thoughts or anything you want to share?
No. Just excited to be here and look forward to working with everyone that I've met here at the next event, and look forward to seeing you guys at the next one as well.
Do they let you go to Japan when they're speaking over there?
I didn't even know that there was a Japan.
Okay.
Now you know.
Josh is speaking at the Meet Magento Japan, right?
Oh, well, I definitely have to get in there. It sounds like a sales thing that has to happen.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to go explore and make sure that you don't need to do something in that market. You're a sales guy. Figure out how to sell it to them that they need to drag you to Japan.
It's the next conversation I'm going to have.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. All right, guys.
Thanks so much, Shannon. Really appreciate it. Talk to you soon.
Enjoy the rest of your show.
All right. Come on in.
Come on down. You're the next one.
Step into the hot seat here. Guys coming in together. Let's get you guys in the middle. Hey, David. Good to see you, man.
We may need to back up a little bit.
Let's just slide
Gary,
into view.
Turn that camera out towards the hallway a little bit. There we go.
You guys out late last night?
I tuckered in. Yeah, I mean 9:30 p.m. Would that be considered late?
No.
In my world, yes.
We
with a
retired
7-year-old, you know,
I was in
any bedtime past 8 o'clock is late.
By New York standards, if you make it in before the sun comes up, you're in early.
right, exactly.
So we stayed out. Well, you didn't catch up with us.
I didn't. You guys went to karaoke, right?
No, we went to Carnegie Club.
Oh, I thought that was karaoke for some reason.
It's a very, very smoky cigar bar.
Got it.
It's
Got
about
it.
the size of a bedroom,
Yeah.
and there's 800 people in there.
I was sitting outside of the main party area because I was having a conversation. Before I knew it, everybody was gone. Everybody left me, so I just went home, got to bed early. Yeah, but so introduce yourselves real quick.
Hey, I'm David Gitman with Excel Commerce, and this is our portfolio holding, Get Maine Lobster. Mark Morell, he's the CEO and founder, and primarily focuses on the selling of fresh seafood and lobster.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And what does
Mark is moving to actually an M1 build right now. And we're gearing up for the holiday season, and so that's what we've been focused on with Mark. He's been on WordPress for 7 years.
7 or 8, yeah.
Wow. So WooCommerce or?
Not even Woo.
Okay.
So.
WP Commerce, and so it's quite challenging for us to do the migration, but we're really excited and to support all Mark's marketing efforts going forward.
Yeah.
And so, you know, doing a quick M1 build just to bang it out and get ready for the holiday season.
Awesome.
So
well,
do you sell a lot of lobster during the holiday? Is that like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's Thanksgiving, I need a lobster.
Exactly. So a third of our orders come in December.
Okay.
We do have some people that have changed their tradition for Thanksgiving, and we'll do a lot. You know, hundreds and hundreds of people will be eating lobster on Thanksgiving.
I mean, it sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not traditional Southern, but I swear if I showed up to Thanksgiving,
I wouldn't mind. I really
lobster,
wouldn't mind. Yeah.
everybody'd be like, I don't know what happened,
Yeah.
but I like it.
Yeah. I always add lobster to the menu for Thanksgiving.
There you go.
Well, I mean-
Now, talk to me about shipping. Shipping feels like it'd be a little tricky.
Shipping's delicate.
Want to give him the mic to you?
It's a live. You gotta.
I'll hold it,
It's a live animal, right?
Working out the kinks.
And it typically lives in the ocean. So
So you're shipping it live.
yes, and we've shipped it as far
Ship
as
'em live.
Mexico, Puerto Rico, but lobster gets shipped all over the world. So for us, we really focus on strong, healthy lobster, right? Because it needs to make the journey. It's outside of water. In reality, a lobster can live outside of its habitat for about 3 days. So we ship it priority overnight.
Okay.
It arrives before noon, and then you just keep it cool until you're ready to cook and eat. When it arrives, you should cook it and eat it,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
But then we sell already picked meat, which has a 7-day shelf life, lobster tails, which you can keep in the freezer for 3 months,
Okay.
fresh seafood, all that jazz.
So if it's that delicate, you've got that short of a window to order it and cook it. What's your typical turnaround? If I placed an order today, like if I wanted one for Thanksgiving, do I need to order it like a couple of days before, or how does that? Can I schedule it out?
To schedule it out.
Okay.
So we give everybody the ability to select an arrival date that works for them. It's essential. We learned that early on, and because you don't want to have to wait. 2, you want to plan, and then 3, what if the actual size and count of lobster is not available on that day? Because who knows what that guy is going to bring in?
Yeah.
So are most of your orders like that? Most of your orders via e-commerce, are they actually thought it out and they ordered in adequate time, or they waited till you get a bunch of, I want a lobster 2 days from now, please, send me one now?
It's a mix because we'll drive stuff too. For example, a couple of weeks ago, we get a really good deal if you buy 12 lobsters of this particular size, and it has to arrive this week. So they will change their plans and take advantage of the savings and then buy those lobsters for that week. So a lot of people eat lobster on a Tuesday. It's not necessarily a weekend thing.
Right.
There's just people that just absolutely addicted to the experience,
Part of the checkout process, one of the first steps is to select the date you actually want the arrival. And that's a bit tricky to build. Also, we can't deliver lobsters on Sundays and Mondays. Lobster delivery, because everything is shipped overnight, and the current carriers don't ship those days. So, we start shipping out Monday for Tuesday, and we ship as late as Friday for Saturday. So, you can, receive packages from Tuesday to Saturday. And hopefully, as we move further into into the supply chain, we'll be able to do local deliveries in major cities like New York and Chicago we're focusing on, where you'll be able to order and get your delivery within hours. So we'll have a hub of lobsters available at those cities, and be able to deliver it on those days as well. And for last-minute parties and events, and all your lobster, cooking.
To feed
Now-
habit.
I think that's when we know that this e-commerce thing is caught on, when people are figuring out the logistics of getting lobsters to you same day. I think this e-commerce thing's going to work out.
I think it's going somewhere.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What? With the rollout to different cities, what is that looking like? What are the challenges there? Are you trying to figure out which cities to roll out to local delivery first? What's that looking like?
Yeah, so Chicago's what we're working on first, simply because we have supply there.
Okay.
And then as soon as we got set up in Chicago, San Fran called, and I said, well, I got to do a little bit of work. I got to have high-quality supply in all those locations because I have high standards.
Now, what do you mean San Fran called? You had a restaurant from the Bay Area call you, or?
An organization, Uber Eats, wanted us to do it.
Okay.
So-
Okay.
But I said, we're not ready to do San Fran yet.
Got it. Got it.
So we didn't want to go there until we're fully confident.
Right. Right.
To do that. Chicago is a place we're really confident that we can do that.
Got it. Got it. That's really exciting. I mean, local delivery, something that traditionally is really hard to ship.
Yeah.
That sounds like you're going to build a barrier to entry as a business that is going to be hard for competitors to come in on.
Plus, consumers are adopting that way to acquire food.
For both B2B and B2C. So right now we're really heavily focused on B2C, but as we build, and we're looking at M2 for this as well, the B2B marketplace where we can, work with caterers, restaurants, and other food
private chefs,
where same day delivery, like I want to do a lobster special tonight, like you order it before noon, and my restaurant serving lobster later that day. I think that's going to be really powerful for chefs.
Absolutely.
Now, are you planning on using Uber Eats for all of the delivery, or is it just kind of one of those special cases, city by city? Or
not necessarily. I mean, personally, I would rather
I don't want to lose you.
build my own mechanism. However, they have a great network to kick it off, right? So I like to try to build things myself with David so that we can control more.
Yeah.
So
now pivoting a little bit back to Excel Commerce, what do you guys do? What's your model look like?
Sure, we're a e-commerce accelerator, and we like to invest in, I would say, about 3 e-commerce merchants at a time, and help them strategize and build their business as well. So it's a little mix of finance and a little mix of execution. But right now we're really primarily focused on getting growth from Mark for the holiday season. And that's our ideal model, to share resources that are not necessarily needed. Mark may not need a full-time social media marketer, but across our portfolio, that might make sense.
Yeah, that's really exciting. So a little bit different from a traditional agency where you're actually incubating the company, you're investing. Do you have any capacity for additional merchants at the moment? What does your application process look like?
We haven't formalized it yet, and that's something we've been working on internally, is to start with like more of a class type scenario, and so we're just starting to understand what that's like, and we haven't seen this done for e-commerce yet. So we look up to people like Y Combinator, and trying to use their model to support our portfolio companies.
That's really awesome. And so what was it about Mark's business that you saw, you got excited about, and really want to get involved with?
I love businesses that have traction, but have barriers from a more technological standpoint, where they're having trouble executing but their marketing messages simply from there's technology barriers. Tracking and attribution models and the way they productize and complex products. And I just feel like there's a lot of things on the table that Mark could be doing better, that as we come into the holiday season, I think will be really strong for GML. And I think this is going to be by far the largest holiday season that GML has ever seen, and I'm really excited to be a part of that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I think that's about it for now. Thanks so much for joining us. Sorry, I got my coffee cup here. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I can't believe this is the first time we've talked. We haven't even had a chance to chat.
I definitely need a lobster for Thanksgiving, though. I feel like I need to accomplish this.
Yeah.
Please check out getmainlobster.com, and see you guys a little later.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Take it easy. We've gotten off camera here a little bit. I'm not sure how that happened.
Yeah, we got to recalibrate.
We got to.
There we go.
Now we're good.
All right, who we got next?
Hi, I'm Mike.
Mike, come into the hot seat
TJ.
here.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Great to have you. Let's get centered. There we go.
I think we're in here.
Thanks for joining us. What company are you with?
So I'm with Fresh Relevance. I'm CEO and co-founder.
Okay.
So,
awesome. I've seen a little bit about Fresh Relevance. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you guys do?
yeah, so we handle cross-channel personalization for e-commerce stores. And so we work with Magento. We personalize the Magento sites. We also personalize email campaigns. We personalize triggered emails. We send triggered emails, and we do stuff with mobile. So that everything cross-channel is personalized the same way, same rules, and we create a personalized customer experience for shoppers that extends not just to the store, but also to other marketing channels, other touch points with them.
That's really cool. I actually built a triggered email app for Magento. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but so a little bit familiar. So you're the founder, and are you a developer? Did you work on the product?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a developer by origin. So yeah, I mean, I've done some of the developments on this. We have a fairly big team on it now, but yeah, you know, that's one of the ways we started. I've been in digital marketing for about 17 years now. Okay. So coming through, so this is my specialism, and yeah, this is the latest incarnation.
Nice. Now, how big is the team currently?
So we're just about 40 odd people now. Okay. So we have an office in Boston with some sales and support guys up there, customer support services, and the rest of the team are in England, so either London or Southampton on the south coast.
Awesome, awesome. So in terms of cross-channel personalization, you mentioned a little bit about email and some other channels, cross-channel. What are some example flows and personalization cross-channel that you get into some detail on that give us some examples?
Yeah, so if you imagine a customer coming along to a Magento site, then for the first time, then we track their anonymous behavior. We keep an eye on what they're doing, what products they're browsing. When they eventually purchase, we can track that. At some point along the journey, we'll capture their email address, and we can then start to trigger emails based on abandoned cart, abandoned browsed. We can also do things like personalizing email campaigns based on to be relevant to them. So maybe their favorite category of products, maybe their favorite brands, maybe their favorite color. You can do all that kind of thing to enrich the marketing messages to go out, and to enrich the triggered emails. And then we do things like putting in ratings. So if companies using a ratings provider, like Bazaar Voice or FIFO or any of those guys, then we can capture those ratings and use those to include in the recommendation blocks. So, for example, we have some case studies on this where people have been using those recommendations in email campaigns, and by including the star ratings, they get a 40% increase in conversion rate from those email campaigns, which is fantastic for a retailer. Mm.
Yeah, I didn't know if you had a question. Yeah, that's huge. So you're taking a product an abandoned cart, let's say, you're pulling in ratings data from FIFO or Yotpo, something like that, adding it to the email and bumping conversion rates.
Yeah, absolutely. So that can be abandoned carts, which are already effective, but this really takes them up to another level. It can be things like price drop emails that we trigger, so people who've browsed products that have now dropped in price, or it can just be regular marketing messages that are going out from our client's ESP, sending out and adding these recommendation blocks with filtered star rating recommendations is enormously effective.
What all platforms do you support?
On email, you mean? Or,
well, as far as like integrating, like say I had a site, a lot of people, I mean, it's fairly common to have Magento, and then you might have WordPress for some sort of content management, or some sort of microsite. Yeah. Because obviously Magento's content management pre-Bluefoot was fairly limiting. So would it be possible for me to track what content they're viewing on some other platform and leverage that in my e-commerce offering?
Got it, absolutely, yeah. So we can handle tracking of all sorts of different sites. So with Magento we have plugins for both M1 and M2, but for other sites we can do that via JavaScript tracking. So it's quite common. We have people who are tracking, as you say, like a content site or a help site, and using that to also influence the reviews, the recommendations, and the subsequent marketing activity. So yeah, absolutely, we handle all that kind of cross-site piece.
And can you talk at all about pricing, what that might look like if people are interested in checking it out?
Yeah, so it's subscription-based. It's a SaaS service. We start from a couple of $100 a month and head upwards from that, depending on the size of the store. Okay. So, and also the functionality. I mean, I've talked a lot about personalization and recommendations, but we also do other things like live email content. So when emails get opened, we can do things like countdown timers and other sorts of personalization for each individual person. So there's a whole bunch of other marketing tactics that we enable for the marketer.
Right. You know, it's interesting with personalization stuff. You know, I did a little bit of stuff on the triggered email side. I remember looking at Springbot. They have a certain mix of features with email, social ad creation, and every company in this space has kind of a unique mix of which features they hit. How did you decide which features to look at, and like what differentiates you from some of the other players in the space?
So our focus is very much about what adds value to the marketer and to the shop. So we look always at, is this new feature going to actually increase their revenue? And you know, we don't implement it if it's not something that we think is going to make a difference. And there's been a number of case studies and analyst reports on this. You know, the top performing marketing tactics email are things like triggered emails, particularly cast and browse abandonment, but also price drop emails, and things like the ratings and reviews integration. Right. So they all make a huge difference. So that's really how we evaluate features to add to the platform.
Got it. Yeah, I have a friend that jokes that, you know, when they're consulting with the client, you know, they go through this long consultation process on what's the best marketing strategy, and at the end of it, they say, send more email.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot to that, but you can also send more email, but send better email as well. And as I say, we have the case studies that show we can increase the conversion rate from emails by 40%, which is a fantastic win for anybody, any retailer.
On the browse abandonment side of things, you know, some people, like, I remember thinking about that feature, and some people might feel like it's a little creepy or whatever, you know, like, how do you approach that? Are there some merchants that maybe you decided it wasn't a fit for? Does it seem to work for most of them?
It's a great question, and yes, there is a spread of opinions amongst different retailers. So some are particularly brand aware, brand focused, and really want to come over in a particular way. You know, like a friendly brand is something I've heard a number of times. Those guys don't want to be sending a straight browse abandonment email in terms of, you know, hey, we saw you were looking at this, and you know, maybe you want to buy it.
It's not creepy at all.
Well, exactly. It's something that can work very well for companies who are very much commercially focused, who don't have that kind of brand situation, brand empathy going on, if you like. But for those guys who do have a particular brand image they want to portray, we suggest that they use, you know, browse abandonment and other emails slightly differently. So rather than having it say, you know, okay, you maybe want to buy this, you know, maybe send some recommendations focused around the kind of category of products that the people are looking at. So not specifically linked to their visit, but maybe, you know, within a day or two, sending an email saying, okay, here's some interesting products we've got on offer. Yeah. Maybe link it to a price drop. So, you know, it's here are some products that we think you might like that have recently dropped in price. And that kind of softer approach can be really, really effective. Yeah. And some of those brand conscious clients are very happy with that, and then some want something that's even a little bit softer. And so for them, we suggest, okay, so put in your regular marketing emails some personalization elements, banners maybe, or recommendations that are based on what that person has been looking at, and use that to help to increase the conversion rate. So keep it to regular marketing emails, but just have these relevant bits of content that go in.
That makes sense. So you've got several different kind of options, entry levels of creepiness for different types of merchants. It's funny, as you were saying that, I was thinking, I wonder if you could do a play on the creepy thing, and maybe if it was like for Halloween or something, and there was a brand that was like scary products, and you tied that in to like, we're watching you or something like that. Do something fun with it.
Well, I don't think anybody's tried it yet, but you know, hey, it's often worth testing stuff in marketing. Yeah. So
now, how has the Magento 2 implementation gone for you guys? A lot of extension developers, you know, have had some issues with that. What's that process been like for you?
Well, it was kind of painful to start. I mean, because obviously Magento 2 is complete rebuild, so it took us some time. We had some challenges with the documentation when we started that. It was about, we implemented it 6 or 8 months ago, I think. I'm aware the documentation's got a bit better since then, but yeah, we got through it. Yeah.
And what is the? Does Gary have somebody else for us? No.
No. Y'all just got such a. I feel like such a bond here. You've got a great relationship.
We do.
You relate. I mean, it's like I wrote something similar. I'm just sitting here learning and listening. I probably need to go get some coffee and wake up or something.
No.
Let y'all finish.
Yeah. So the other question I was asked is, what does the implementation process look like for a merchant getting, like you said, review systems synced up, anything they got to do? What does the implementation path look like?
Okay, so we worked really hard to make this very, very easy. So the basic implementation is just putting a line of JavaScript on every page, same JavaScript everywhere. So that's pretty.
Not for Magento. For Magento, though, it would be an extension installation.
I mean, for Magento specifically, it's an extension either M1 or M2 that plugs in, and that handles everything for you. But for the content side, that is the line of JavaScript. Right. For other things like integration of data from CRM systems or from maybe physical stores, we can put in that sort of transaction data for offline sales. Then that's pretty straightforward as well. That's usually just done by an SFTP feed. And then for things like the ratings and reviews, that's you literally just put in the credentials for the ratings provider, and our system then goes off and starts fetching the ratings and reviews, and they're all available to use.
Got it. And as far as the actual email templates, what does the process look like for them selecting them, customizing them, getting recommendations?
Yeah, so for emails, we normally work with the existing email marketing provider for a company. So if they're using, like MailChimp or Salesforce Marketing Cloud or Adobe or any of the other sort of...
You just plug into those.
Yeah, exactly. We plug into those, and then we provide the personalized elements and the recommendation elements that can be copied into the templates on that. So companies can keep on using the existing platform that they're using for their marketing emails without any disruption.
Got it. Awesome. Well, how are you liking the event so far? And by the way, are you based in London?
Yeah, so we have an office in Boston with sales and support, and we have offices in London as well. So.
But you yourself, are you in Boston?
I'm based in London, but I come out here every month or so. Okay. So.
And you're enjoying the event?
Yeah, the event's been great. It's been fantastic to meet so many people from the Magento community out here. And we're fairly involved in a community in London, but this is our first Magento event in North America, and very pleased with it so far.
Nice. I've heard the Magento London meetup is popping, as we say.
Yeah, it is. It's a very lively community. Yeah. But I think from what people I've met here, it's pretty lively here as well. So yeah, it's cool.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. Really appreciate having you on.
Great to talk.
And
nice to meet you.
Enjoy the rest of the event.
I enjoyed listening to y'all's conversation. It was a long night. Kalen went to bed early. I stayed out late. I'm going to need to get some coffee and wake up so I can actually...
There are lots of people here who are suffering this morning. So.
Yeah, it's
There's
tough.
definitely not as many people here this morning. They'll be rolling in a little while, maybe.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Awesome.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thanks, then.
No, it's funny because I remember when I was doing a podcast with Phil and Brian, who have their own podcast on future, so they know everything about Amazon and all the future stuff. And I just sat there and listened to them. It was like I had nothing.
Well, I came up with a few questions, but then it's like, those are just dumb questions. Kalen's got good questions. I'll let it go.
Awesome.
Normally at that point I just say something funny, but I'm too tired to even be funny this morning.
Right.
So
I gotcha.
I'll get some coffee. I'll be good. We may have to go get the Jack Daniels from the room or something. I don't know, but
how are we looking, Gary?
Well, I just came on to tell you that everybody in this whole hall is willing to come on later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're down to the bottom of the barrel, so I'm on camera.
So we're
It was just asked me last time I came. Hey, we're going to try to get
This is actually my buddy. You want to come on real quick?
He's
You
eating.
eating? Okay.
Here, you talk. I'm gonna go get some coffee. I'm gonna leave the mic here to get.
Now I have the mic.
Yeah.
We've really hit rock bottom.
I'm on the right side. I'm all discombobulated
this
now.
Is crazy now.
Now I know why.
Now it's getting crazy.
Now it's getting wild.
And we're both wearing black shirts, so you
Both
probably
wearing black
can't tell
shirts.
us apart.
I'm wearing my original Magento.
Oh, that
you
is
know?
original.
Yeah.
Is that like from Imagine 2000 and
Probably
5 or
2001 or something like that. It's a few years.
legit.
It's got a few years on it. So
5 years before Magento came along, but
yeah. I don't know. I don't know how I got it back then. Time travel, something like that. So, Gary, how's everything going today?
it is just lovely.
Just
I've been
lovely.
walking around talking to people who are willing to come on this live stream at some point in the future after they've done something else or made a phone call.
It's a tough time right now because people are in their sessions and things like that.
A lot of great sessions going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, what did you do last night?
Well, we went to the after party, and TJ wanted to go to the. Do you say Carnegie or Carnegie? I've never been able to.
I really can't say. I'm not.
You're not a native.
No, I'm not a native. Not a native New Yorker.
So we went to a place where cigars are smoked in industrial quantities, and
Okay.
that was fun. You're moving to Austin, aren't you?
I am. Yeah, moving to Austin in January. So building a house, and they're sending us photos as they're building it. So having a good time with that. You want to come on for an interview? No? Okay. All right. Brian, we're bringing people in. We're getting people in. There's Jenna. We got to find some people to dip in.
Bring
You got
them
some
on.
live ones? Bring them in. Bring them in.
This thing
Let's
always
do it.
starts dying when I get on.
Hey. We're doing everything we can to keep the momentum here, folks. So Austin. Hey, here we go. Step on in. I got to get on this side. I'm not. This is the only side I'm using.
Well, yeah, I went over to get coffee, and these random guys
How you
came
doing,
up.
Kalen? Good to meet you, man, Richard.
And were
Hey, good to
telling
meet
me
you,
how
man, Leo.
awesome my talk was yesterday.
So let's get centered up. Are we
Yeah.
centered up? All
I
right.
think we're all right. So they were telling me how awesome my talk was, and I'm like, if we're going to have a conversation, let's do it on TV.
Let's
baby.
do it
Let's
live.
go.
Let's do it live. I like it. So what company you guys with?
We're Parkfair Commerce. Yeah, so we do Shopify and
Yeah,
BigCommerce.
Shopify and BigCommerce. We've been running for about 2 years now. And
Awesome.
We just came here today to see what Magento is offering and how good Magento 2.0 is.
That's cool. I mean, that's actually interesting because as somebody that's outside of the community, you guys are looking in, trying to figure out if there's anything here.
There's a lot here.
There's a lot here.
There's a lot.
So you
Welcome.
guys are like a Shopify agency. You do like custom stores, theme development.
Yeah, exactly. So we build everything. Yeah, sure. So we build everything from like simple template setups to custom builds where we design every single page. We've been working on Shopify for about 5 years.
Okay.
When it just had like 40,000 people, now it's like blown up to 500,000. I think they're at.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a great
Yeah.
platform. But
We could debate those numbers as to whether or not those are people.
You know what question's coming next.
What's the question?
So the recent news with the stock drop
yes.
with Shopify. What are your thoughts on that? I don't know too much about it.
I know a little bit about it. And I know they said that Shopify involved in some kind of get-rich-quick scheme. I'm not sure if there's any truth to that, or I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't. I mean, I'm a Magento homer.
Yeah.
I'll admit it. I like Magento. I mean, it's not right for everybody, but it's definitely a situation to where I don't know if Shopify's necessarily, it's not that the software's bad or it doesn't do what they promise.
Yeah.
It's just the marketing tactics were maybe a little too far into the gray area. Maybe actually completely across the line in some instances. So I don't know if it's necessarily that.
Now,
it's not that it's a platform that doesn't work.
Did
it's
you
just-
actually? Because I skimmed a news article, but did you actually see marketing tactics that?
Basically,
what
what the article said,
Yeah.
and I'm just kind of paraphrasing here based on an article I read a week or two ago.
Yeah, because you got to be
But
careful with fake news these
Yeah,
days.
it's basically they're doing things like you can be the next Shopify millionaire, and
Okay.
and they're basically the way they're wording things and the way they're talking to people is that they're implying that it is very, very easy to do, and they're actually like drafting, and this, I didn't read this in the article, but someone told me they're actually drafting like fake resignation letters for you to hand in your resignation to become the next Shopify millionaire.
Okay.
There's FCC rules against those types of marketing tactics, and you got to be very careful.
Specifically related to
what
job
you
stuff.
Imply to people, and talking about you're going to get rich.
Okay.
And what's the percentage of people on Shopify that are getting rich? I mean, some people do it.
Yeah.
But some people make it to the NBA too.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
So
I think you had a solid shot. I think you should
here's the
have
thing.
kept pushing through.
Well, the funny thing is I played every position in high school but point guard. I played center on defense. I was shooting guard on offense. I can shoot. I shot over 60% from the three in high school. Now, I only shot when I was wide open. That was a problem. But I didn't shoot that much, but I can shoot. And I went to Auburn University, and I was in the student act one day.
I feel like you're just messing with us, TJ.
No. I was in the student act one day, and I walked into the gym. I walked into the student act. And back when I was in college, Auburn they were preseason #1. Okay, this is going in the preseason #1. They had a really good basketball team. And half of the basketball squad is out there playing a pickup game. And I'm like, I can shoot.
Yeah.
Now, I was a lot skinnier, but I can shoot. I get out there, I get on the team. And this guy, about your height, okay, about your height, he could stand over there at that table. And I've got a quick shot. Like most people, I mean, I can get my shot off. That guy could stand at that table, I couldn't get my shot off. And that's when I realized I can shoot. Yeah. I've got no athleticism whatsoever. Like, being an athlete is a lot more than just being able to shoot.
Yeah.
Just like becoming a Shopify millionaire is a lot more than just signing up for Shopify.
Well said. Well said.
That's true.
What? So
it's just like my talk yesterday. I go off into left field somewhere, and you're like, "Where's this guy going?" And then it's
brings
like,
it back.
That makes
brings
sense.
it right back.
How did he make that make sense?
TJ does it again. Now, in terms of Shopify, what's your mix between regular Shopify and Shopify Plus as far as your client base?
I think typical Shopify people are making possibly less than $800,000 a year. Anything more than that, Shopify kind of recommends the Plus platform, which does have a lot of benefits to it.
Right.
What are those benefits?
Benefits are more API calls. You can have endless amounts of users. I sound like a Shopify salesman.
It's all right. It's all right.
Hold on. It's pretty much the same platform. They just give you a little more access to it?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same, but yeah, you can do so much more with it. Like a lot more complexities you can add to the store. It's a custom checkout as well, which you can't affect anything on the normal Shopify. You can just do a lot more with it. So overall, it's a good platform, but as the popularity grows, so does the competition. So we're kind of venturing out and looking at other platforms.
Right.
So go ahead.
No.
Well, you said you're Shopify and BigCommerce. Yeah. And so how do you, like, what's the key differences when you're talking to a company? How do you know which platform is right for them between those two?
I think we look at first their products, their business. I think Shopify has like a limit of 100 variants. So clients with like, for example, shoes, if they have like 10 different sizes, 10 different colors, plus more than that, then they can't fit on Shopify. So we kind of like recommend maybe BigCommerce, or if they've got some crazy complex ERP backend systems, we kind of side towards BigCommerce on that. But anything if it's like a simple setup, Shopify all the way.
Nice. And
I'm not used to this unovercomable obstacles, right? Being in Magento, it's like, well, this platform's not right because you've got a bunch of shoes. And I'm like, oh, it's Magento. If you've got something it don't do, we can make it happen.
Yeah.
That's true. That's the difference between an open source platform and a fundamentally a closed platform. You are going to run into limitations. But I'd say like Shopify's kind of like a one suit fits all kind of thing. Like you go into, I don't know if Old Navy sells suits. I'm not from America, but it's like kind of going into there and saying like, I need a suit, and you get a 42 chest. Whereas if you go to somewhere like Xenia, you can get your exact custom fitting,
right?
Which is more like Magento. So,
right.
Yeah, most of the briefs we're getting in now, we're getting bigger clients coming in with more complex things, and we're kind of having to go, you know what, maybe we need to look at another platform bigger than a SaaS.
Now that we've given a 15-minute ad for Shopify, just to show you how unbiased we are, I got the Magento shirt on. So what are your impressions of Magento so far coming into it? What are you guys thinking?
It looks awesome.
Developer side, it's a sort of a pain, honestly. I'm still trying to get everything set up and have.
You're not wrong about that.
Yeah, I mean it's PHP, so
it's really terrible if you don't want to work in modern web development frameworks.
Yeah, I mean,
if you don't want to be up to date with modern standards, Magento is going to be painful for you.
Well,
I'm just focused.
not. I mean, PHP is a pretty old guy. It's a pretty old man, but it's right now the roadblock that I'm hitting is setting custom Nginx servers for each Magento folder. That's what I'm trying to set up right now. But yeah, like I haven't really jumped into it yet. I'm still like learning the ropes.
Here's how Magento development goes, okay? I've seen it 1,000 times. I'm going to explain it to you. you're going to start off and you're going to be excited, and it's going to be painful, and you're going to be like, I don't know. And then at some point, while you're climbing that mountain, you're going to hate it. And you're going to be like, what the hell did I do? Why am I here? This was a bad decision.
Questioning your life choices.
All of a sudden, you're going to summit that mountain, and you're going to love it on the way down on the other side, okay?
So hit him with the hind. Oh, you guys don't know that. Never mind. Hit him with the hind.
We're too old. Sorry. So you don't sound like you're at all sold on Magento. You're like, not happening.
Well, it's not that I'm not sold. Actually,
Talking crap about PHP on camera.
I mean, come on.
Are you a Rails guy? Or?
Rails, React, Node. So those type of things. Like I do like the JavaScript frameworks a lot. But I'm always open. I've messed around with PHP before, especially the Zen framework. So it's not things that I'm not familiar with. You know, it's just a matter of getting back into it.
Go look at the Magento PWA Studio. Have you looked at that yet?
No.
Okay, if you're a React guy, Magento is working on it. Hasn't been released yet, but they're working on a progressive web app studio that allows you to basically build a progressive web app that is connected to a headless Magento install. And the front end, the PWA stuff, is going to be React. So there's a good chance there that you'll be able to do everything you need to do, the front end anyway, in React. So if you're more familiar with that, I mean, you still, obviously, if you got to customize functionality, you may have to customize Magento, build APIs, and do those kinds of things. But a lot of that front end stuff is going to be React.
All right.
That's good.
Cool.
So you've asked us a lot of questions. I want to ask you some questions.
All right.
Let's
All right.
go. This is a first.
I like it. I like
Turning
it.
the tables.
Yeah, turn them up.
So what are your thoughts on Magento 2.0 and compared to Magento 1?
What are my thoughts on it? Well, I mean, it's definitely an improvement, right? They're headed in the right direction. Anytime you make that many changes, there's bound to be some complications. And you know, some people would say they released it too early. I don't think that's the case. I think you have to get it out there. The community is the power of Magento, and getting it out there and letting them help you fix things and set the course and figure out where it's going, it's all good. I think with the things they're doing with progressive web apps, the B2B release, I mean, the Magento is releasing new features right now faster than faster than it's ever happened, faster than I've ever seen it. So the pace is just incredible around Magento 2. You know, M1 is, like I try to explain to people, M1, especially from a developer perspective, it's kind of like that warm blanket, right? You've done it 1,000 times, it's comfortable, you know it, you know, and you were young and you got into it and it was exciting and you got over that mountain, and now you're old and you're tired and you just want to get this damn website to work.
Yeah. You
got to learn something new.
What I'm hearing, the biggest draws for Magento 2, and one of the criticisms early on was there wasn't enough new features in M2 to really make a difference. There was a lot of underlying work in the code base. But the B2B feature set, I'm hearing a lot of people are excited about. I believe that's only an enterprise. The content management, they made an acquisition of an extension called Bluefoot, building that into the core, so the content management integration is tighter. And then there's some content staging stuff that's cool. So you want to stage changes to product changes, catalog changes, new theme, new content. You can stage all of that within one place. So those are some of the things I think people are excited about.
Well, they definitely addressed a lot of the weaknesses of Magento 1 with B2B, with content management. I mean, if you had a Magento 1 site, it was easy just to say, if you're doing some serious content management or you need a robust search, the search and content management was just garbage, especially if you were in community, right? I mean, you wasn't tied it into Solar and you weren't trying to integrate it with some other CMS. It was just terrible. Bluefoot really changes that game. If you're doing, I mean, if you've got a huge enterprise operation with tons of content creators, not really what it's designed for. But you no longer need to integrate WordPress for a basic blog. Or you've now got drag and drop capabilities to build pages, and there's just a lot of things you can do, because in e-commerce, your content is what differentiates you. That's what sets you apart. I mean, if you're using the pictures that the manufacturer sent you and the descriptions that the manufacturer sent you, you're using the exact same stuff that all your competitors are using. So generating content is important, and having people to generate content is important, but then you're on a platform that doesn't really have good content management capabilities. they've solved that. Elasticsearch is, an improvement as far as search goes. So they've addressed, with those early releases, they addressed some of the major issues, some of the acquisitions. I think the future, though, I can't even imagine, PWAs kind of came out of nowhere. That's one of those technologies that's really taken off. I can only imagine, and no pun intended, what they're going to announce at Imagine. I mean, what is going to... They try to announce the new things every year. And if you love a good party, get out to Vegas for Imagine.
You guys planning to make it out there?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, my final question is, I spoke to a few agencies, and they said, the length of development time is twice as long as Magento 2. Is there any truth to that?
Well, the
yes.
thing you gotta, the thing you
Although
gotta
I think
realize,
it's coming down.
Yeah, the thing you got to realize is it's new, and a lot of people are still learning and figuring things out and overcoming some difficulties. And it's any sort of. I mean, think about any platform. I mean, I work on cars. If I get on my 72 Ford, I can rebuild that engine in a day and have it back in the truck if that's what it takes. I go work on my 2014 Dodge Charger. That's new. Now, it's a little more complicated, but it's just new, so I'm learning, and I don't know exactly where every bolt is, and I don't know what size. Like over here, if I have a 1/2 inch and a 9/16, I can tear that whole truck apart. Over here, I don't know what size those are going to be. So as people get more accustomed to doing it, and they've done it, and there's extensions out there that provide all the functionality, it's going to be similar. I'm not going to say it's going to be the same, because I think with all the new features, and not just of Magento, of e-commerce requirements in general, then builds are going to get more complex, because now you got to deal with React and PWAs and B2B and VR and augmented reality, and so builds are going to get bigger, but the actual time to execute a similar build to what M1 was is going to be similar a year, 2 years from now.
Great, thank you so much.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, guys. Appreciate it. Enjoy. Have a good time.
Hey, it's good to meet y'all. Hey, y'all catch.
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure.
If you get out to Imagine, let's catch up.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do it.
So we're going to bring you guys on. Carol, they just want to snap a picture real quick.
Yes,
we got to bring them on real quick, but jump on in. Jump on in.
Getting everybody in.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Carol, come on in. Good to have you, man. Is she jumping in too? So,
You want to slide in here?
you want to come on in? All right. So, how you guys doing? Introduce yourselves.
So I'm Kirill Morozov. I worked for a while, 3 years, within Magento itself, ECG department, back from 2010, and I'm already 4 years in a wild, a couple years in Magento, sometime in Australia, Sydney. Now I'm here for a while, helping getting up to speed one more merchant.
And yourself?
Hi, my name is Natalie. I am CEO in Russian Magento company.
CEO of a company in Russia? Okay,
CEO.
awesome.
She got the. I saw the business card. CEO. Look right there. CEO.
Awesome. So we actually met online a few months ago or something like that, and now I'm meeting you in person, which I always really love to do.
So I got recently getting out from darkness. Let's say back in 2013, I visited Developer Paradise, conducted the webinar with Udi about search optimization, solver indexing, and a lot of high-tech, high-performance, high-volume stuff. And after it, I kind of things changed. Now things are getting normal, so I'm getting back.
What do you mean things changed now they're getting normal?
I got married, I got kids.
Are you guys?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So now things are getting normal, so I'm getting back to light. Back on stage.
Nice. Now, do you guys work together or different companies?
This is my last name, and company is...
She's his CEO.
I get it. Yeah, same deal here. Wife is the boss. Yes. she's gonna thank me afterwards. That's cool. So you were on the ECG team, kind of almost the same as being on the core team.
So after getting in the wild, I got familiar with all the tech stuff around. I always was kind of on the bleeding edge with all the varnish, Elasticsearch stuff. Recently got more hands on nearby AI stuff, and I'm mixing all these things, launching 180,000 SKUs merchant with Elastic enabled, with now with integrations, and it just works well if you cook it well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I could tell when I met you, you were really smart, and I met you in person. I'm like, yeah, smart dude. So you're from Russia in New York now. You guys are living here?
About to.
About to. And what are you working on right now?
Currently helping out merchant with like speeding them up, preparing for season, sales season.
Magento 1?
2.
Oh, 2.
Okay. So the last 2 years I'm working with Magento 2s. I have a couple projects on kind of supervisory in terms of something wrong happens, or if something from deep history in backend, deep history, because I have special skill with my memory. I store a lot of junk in my memory. So I can remember about location where stuff was done within some requests and so on.
Got it, got it.
So did you say you had 2 years experience with Magento 2?
Yep.
Can't be too many people that claim that right now, right?
It's, let's say, 1.5. Yeah, one
Just,
and a half.
It rounds to 2. It rounds up.
It's gone through a lot of changes in the last 2 years.
Not actually a lot. It because a lot even from Magento 1. I mean,
from that perspective, yeah.
From Magento 1 perspective, when you do order recalculation stuff, it's like high-end, deep stuff. When you're integrating for SAP, for example, you can throw away Magento calculation itself, stick it in calculation within third-party system, and it will still be alive.
Yeah.
It's like throw out liver and replace it with a new one.
Well, I'm just thinking because I did some Magento 2 work for the beta. There was one in Austin and one in Berlin. I want to say like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And I did a little extension. I haven't done anything since then, and it just feels like a lot's changed. But so as far as performance optimization goes, what are some of the things you're working on? What do you think are some of the things people should be focused on for M2? Also, for the client you're doing optimization on now, like what are they at? What's their baseline, and what are you working to get them to performance-wise?
In terms of performance-wise, they have specific structure of traffic, mostly mobile, and this pushes the boundaries in terms of fast delivery of the content to get the first image fast, and then put whatever left.
So like front-end optimization?
Yeah, mostly front-end, because back-end works pretty well. In terms of if page is cached well, then it works really well. In terms of front-end, you can mess a lot if you don't cook it well. You can mess a lot. So cook it well from the very start.
Got it. And Natalia, how are you liking the event?
Yes, I like this conference.
Yes.
I like this place, and I like your YouTube channel.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, awesome. Well, on that note, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And
talk at 11.
And what's your talk on?
It's about fancy Docker stuff. This is how you called it. You called it fancy Docker stuff when I chat with you. And the fancy kids with their Docker somewhere there.
Fancy Docker stuff.
Yeah.
Is that the title?
No, it's flexibility with the Kubernetes.
Ah, that would have been a winner.
So unprecedented flexibility with Kubernetes as a cluster environment for Magento because you can put a lot of interesting subsystems inside.
Awesome.
Within search, you can teach it with AI stuff. It's a high-tech, highly complex. For now, you can stick in separate environment for API calls, separate for admin, separate for integration, stick it in some Python scripts, isolated, unlike old school way, single server, a bunch of junk. And you can throw everything away if somebody kicks in terms of security, just throw everything away, rebuild it from scratch within minutes.
I like it. Well, one last time, thanks again. Appreciate it. Great to have you on. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Human Element.
No, it's Human Element.
Come on in. Come on in.
Lord.
Step on in. You're coming on for an encore.
We haven't had this many people in the
You're the
frame
first,
at the
first guest to come on twice. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having
Yeah,
me.
she's
I don't know if
just
that's a
showing
good
off
thing or
now.
a bad thing, but
I'm going to go with a good thing. I brought my friends with me this time, not by myself.
There you go. So introduce yourselves real quick.
Sapper Bander.
Paul Briscoe.
I'm Dree Ziegler.
I got you over here. He's gonna do
got it.
that.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
Microphones.
We're going to be stretching our microphone game here a little bit. So did you just give a talk, by the way, at 9 a.m.?
Yeah, I just gave a talk on migrating from Magento 1 to Magento 2 and how much fun it is.
Yeah.
How much literally was the talk? How much fun it is to migrate?
That's the
from
subtitle?
Magento 2?
It was actually lessons learned from migrating to Magento 2.
That sounds more like a talk title. I thought, yeah. I didn't. So how did the talk go?
It went pretty good. There's a lot of, I think a lot of people are dealing with this right now, so I think it's pretty good to talk about right now. Yeah. So.
Have you ever in the history of the world asked somebody how their talk went and they said, not so well?
That's what I usually say.
I
I'm like,
completely bombed. I screwed
I'm like,
that up
nobody
so
laughed at my
bad.
jokes. You know, it's horrible.
Yeah, but even everybody's like, oh, it was good. People were just tired.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to say, Kalen, it just wasn't funny.
Yeah. Well, everybody said you bombed, so I'm just saying. No, everybody actually said you did an amazing job. So what are some of the things that you see happen with, what are some tips you'd give people that are thinking about migrating? Obviously, the migration path is different now than it was a year ago or whatever. So people that are thinking about migrating now, what are some tips you'd give?
I think that you're right in that the migration path is different now than it was a year ago. So there's going to be a combination, I think, of looking at using the data migration toolkit that Magento has, because we found that it's actually super powerful, but you're also in some cases going to need to create your own custom toolkits for getting some information. If you have multi-instances of Magento, you're migrating to one instance, or things like that you're going to have to account for.
Okay. If you could give an example of a migration path, like maybe an example, merchant or fictional one or whatever, how much data is the data migration tool covering? What are the types of things you have to do custom? Just like flesh it out a little bit.
Yeah, so from a high level, the toolkit is going to cover data migration, and there's 3 steps. There's the settings migration, then the data migration, and then a delta migration. So the settings will get things like your core configuration, and then the data is going to get products, customers, orders, anything that happens inside of Magento from the admin UI. And then while that's happening, the delta will get anything that happens after you run the initial data migration. So after all that happens, that's really just migrating the database. Then you have...
What's an example of the delta? What's something that would fall into the delta?
So let's say, for example, that you upgrade your, you run the data migration, and then you're doing that on a development server. In tandem with that, you still have your production site taking orders, and customers are getting created, admins are going in and doing things. So what you can do is you can run that delta migration when you're ready to actually go live, and it'll get the changes that you've made since you ran the original data migration.
That way you don't have to sync everything.
Yeah.
Just what's changed.
That's smart. That's smart. Awesome. And so, do you think now is a good time for merchants to be looking at migrating? Some people have been kind of in a holding pattern.
Yeah, I think so. Planning, I think, is if you've been planning or considering a migration to Magento 2, I think you're in a good spot because the new releases are very stable, and so I think that you're positioned in a good spot to like kind of actually start that work. So, but one of the things that we did kind of say is that you should pay a lot of attention to the upfront planning because that's going to like guide the success of your project down the road.
TJ, how are your migrations going? Going well?
Yeah, I mean, most of ours are not necessarily migrations so much as a new project.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like, you know, we need to, it's a lot of people are taking this as an opportunity to rethink their functionality and kind of start over from scratch. Yep. Especially, you know, and a lot of the new ones that we're talking to right now with PWAs and things, like they're literally rethinking their entire e-commerce operation and how it functions. Are you seeing a lot of the same things, or I don't know if anybody, who needs to get that question?
Yes, I think any of us can take it, but we're definitely seeing people that are pausing and trying to either decide if they're going to re-platform to Magento 2, and if they're going to redo their theme, if they're going to redesign, or if they're just going to migrate the existing. Obviously, they're going to migrate the data, but if they're going to rebuild that same theme, or if they're going to do a totally different redesign, and in that case, we treat it like a new build. We get the data in there, but we start from the beginning of wireframes, planning, design, that sort of thing to sort of start back as if you're going to any other platform. Yeah, a lot of our clients are doing that.
Yeah. And do you have any clients that have decided to build PWA like right now, or most people waiting?
Waiting.
Yeah. It's still a bit early.
We've been advising most people we're talking to. I mean, we're definitely selling it and letting them know it's out there because I'm still, I mean, I know we go to a lot of conferences. We hear a lot of talks. I listen to every podcast I can get my hands on. But it's just amazing how many people, fairly big companies, I mean, 10, 20, $30 million a year online shops are doing research and evaluating what they're about to do with their e-commerce business, and then they don't even know what a PWA is. Like, they haven't even looked at that. That isn't even on their radar.
Name yet or anything.
Yeah. So we introduce them to that, some of the limitations around iOS right now and service workers. But it's one of those where, going back to my talk yesterday, it's about timing your move into a market. And if you wait, you could build a PWA right now, and you could build it on top of Magento, and it's going to have a certain level of investment to accomplish that, obviously. If you wait till Magento officially releases support and they've solidified their technology stack and you're making sure you use whatever they provide you that they're going to support, that's going to be better for you long term. So it might be better to hold off a couple of months or a few months and let's see how that goes before we jump into that new technology. And it's not a replacement for the theme. It's an addition. I mean, obviously it would replace the theme, but you could build an M2 site with a regular theme and we do a PWA later if it's too far out in the future for you and you need to move now.
Who handles the PSAs? The public service announcements?
We need some sort of, we need one of those alerts that beeps on your phone. New technology alert.
Now, Dree, how are you liking the event?
I'm having a great time. I spoke yesterday with one of our clients. We talked a little bit about how to best work with your developer. Key takeaway for us that we wanted people to understand was having your developer be an extension of your team and in a way that allows you to work with them in terms of planning and design, setting goals together, really working together and having your teams be integrated. And for us, that's super important with how we work with clients.
That's great. You said you had a conversation with a client of yours, or you gave a talk?
No, I gave a talk yesterday.
Oh, cool. Nice.
The client gave the talk as well, right?
Oh, got it.
Sides of that relationship. How they've worked with us and how we've worked with them.
Right.
They're one of the few companies that can actually talk their clients into getting on stage. You think selling websites is hard? Try selling a client on getting on stage.
Yeah.
They're like, I paid for a website. What's my benefit from getting on stage?
I already paid you. My work is done. No, that's cool. And I mean, that's a great question. How do you approach that conversation with clients? Because a lot of merchants can be maybe a little cagey. They don't want to talk too much about things that give them a competitive advantage. So what does that look like for you guys?
I mean, for us, we just try to know as much about their business and their processes, like from everything from how they fulfill things to how their ERP works. We try to know as much as we can, and we try to teach them about how, you know, we're a training company in terms of Magento too. We try to teach them what's possible in Magento, and then collaborate from there.
Yeah. When you say we're a training company, what is that?
I
What
mean,
is that?
We don't say, we don't want to do all of the, we don't want to go configure your store later
Yeah.
or make text updates.
Yeah.
We want to train them
Yeah.
how to use the platform and how to use the customizations that we build as
Right, right. That's cool. And as far as getting your clients to do a talk with you, like how do you, you ask, or how does that?
You're like, hey, we're going to be in New York City. Do you want to go? You're going to probably have to talk.
It's one of those.
See, that's like the way that she worded it.
Yeah.
You're gonna probably have to talk.
We can get you exposure and a free ticket to an event in New York if you'll just get on stage with me.
See, I don't think that
say these things.
I don't think that would work, because if you say you're going to exposure, they go, I don't want exposure. Like, these aren't their customers. Yeah, we sell lobsters and pumps. But you say, come to New York, you're going to probably have to talk. Like, you just throw it in there.
30 minutes of your time and you're in New York. That's
Yeah.
all I need. 30 minutes.
I ended up at a cigar bar at 2 a.m.
Oh, Lord. That was...
Were you guys there last night as well?
These guys were. I was being diligent and preparing.
I'm not going to be able to get that cigar
speak
smoke
at 9
out of
a.m.
my
this
soul.
morning. He was not there.
It's ground in.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get that cigar smoke out of my soul. My entire hotel room is just, it smells like that cigar bar right here.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on again, our one and only two-time guest, and we really appreciate it, you guys. Enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you. Thanks. Good to meet you.
Show these guys the.
Look, I mean,
this is some real bacon.
This man.
That bacon is real.
He's the first one. We've had a lot of people were like, come on. They're like, I'm eating. This is the only guy that's like, I don't mind eating bacon on camera.
Well,
I ain't got no problem.
That they are not getting is that there's like a pan of bacon over there, and from what I can tell, it seems unlimited.
It is a bottomless. They have a bottomless bacon bar.
An unlimited pan of bacon.
Bottomless bacon bar.
Yeah.
BBB.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. All right, you guys. I don't know if we have anybody lined up, but I'm looking at Gary. Gary's not giving me a no or a yes. He's giving me an I don't know.
He's just waving his eyebrows around.
Phil, you want to jump in and help us out a little bit?
What's that?
You want to jump in? No, you busy? No, that's cool if you're busy.
Well,
yeah.
The good news is we're streaming. The bad news is I did not record this one locally.
Okay.
Here,
Okay.
we'll start recording locally
That'll
and see
happen.
how that goes.
That happens.
But we've been going for an hour and 17 minutes.
Wow. We're getting fairly good at
today,
this.
didn't it?
We got to get
There's Jensen
we got to
right
get
there.
Gentian. You guys want to come in? I'm trying. Come on in.
Now we've got two-time guests.
You guys want to come on in? Phil, second two-time guest. Beth, how the heck are you? Gentian. Introduce yourself. Are we nice and centered? You got to come in.
I gotta
The
come in.
people want to see. They want to see you. They don't want to see you.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Okay, weird.
There we go.
Hi, I'm Beth Sharrow from Sharrow Commerce. We own an agency, Magento agency, in upstate New York.
Awesome.
Yep, and hi, I'm Gentian. I'm the CEO and founder of Sharrow, and as Beth said, we're located in New York State, in upstate New York, in Poughkeepsie.
Awesome. Should we just recenter?
Yeah, we
Well,
reset.
you know, the thing is,
He
it's
has places
tricky.
to go. He's important.
Well, and it's tricky. Whenever you have a bunch of people, it gets a little tricky. So we're
it's better to
doing
not have three anyway. Yeah.
I know it's tricky. TJ's blocking the. You get. Yeah, I like that. Let's bring it in.
We're gonna huddle.
So, so you guys are from New York. How are you liking the event so far?
Loving it. It's a great event. Meeting a lot of new people, which is really fun. It seems like totally new crowd in certain aspects, but a lot of old great friends as well. And learning what the future brings in e-commerce.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Now, which one of you two is the boss? That's my question.
Let's look at titles. Let's flip the titles around. What you got there?
His says CEO.
His says CEO.
I have a feeling she's the boss, though. Yeah.
COO.
Okay.
See?
Okay.
51.49 for Beth.
Yeah. Smart man. He's a smart man.
She just gave you the ceremonial title of CEO. That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Or we kind of fell into those positions as time went by. You know,
Yeah.
I do more of the higher vision management and set goals, and who joins the company and where we are strategically and where do we want to be.
Right.
And Beth does more
I
operations.
make it happen.
So you get to be a dreamer, and then
Yeah.
she actually has to do all the work.
I'm in the weeds. Yeah.
That's a good. It's a good setup, right?
She gets it done. Now, you guys have done a lot of content. You guys own almost every Magento keyword on Google, some of the key ones. What's that been like? What's your strategy been like? How's that worked out for you?
So that's something that I specifically manage, and I'm very proud of, and I don't do any pay-per-click, even though I do manage it for quite a few customers of ours. I strongly believe in inbound marketing, where you provide valuable information to your customers or to your potential customers, and I'm always honest, and I say it as it is and write about what we learn and what we do. And we have in our team is on the sprint, on the bi-weekly sprint on Jira. It is a task that they have to write an article a month.
Really?
Yes. It either goes in our wiki, internal wiki, in Confluence, or even on our
really like that.
Yeah, even on our support, or if it is information that we can use it to educate the public or our customers, I do the copy editing of everything, and we publish it on the website. So that has been very valuable, and we haven't even tried to do anything per se, like SEO strategies or this or that. It's
just put out content.
Yeah, it's just natural, and share the love, and Google loves us back. So
That's cool. I remember one of the ones I remember seeing was Magento pricing, or Magento enterprise pricing. I think if you search that, you guys have...
Sensitive topic.
Well, we'll cut that out. Didn't say that. But, it's one of those things that people just want to see the pricing, and they don't necessarily want to go through a whole entire rigmarole.
The problem is it is a rigmarole, even as a partner, to get the pricing. Like, it is literally a questionnaire, some DNA, to figure out exactly what it is. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, some DNA, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta. It's a blood test. I mean, they want to know everything about you before they're going to give you the price, and then life is a negotiation after that.
Right.
Yeah.
And now, are you guys a partner?
We are a partner. Yeah. We're a professional partner. Yep.
Nice. So, any of the talks that have stuck out for you guys so far? I love that. I'm a hallway track person myself, to be honest.
If you don't have one, we happen to give talks.
The Blake look.
Like, no, they were all the same.
I really liked DJ's talk yesterday.
Don't give him the... Don't. Come on. His head's already big enough, literally and figurative. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, but it was really awesome. It was very relational to me as audience, and it was historical, or how DJ did the introduction historically, about change and growth, and and then he brought Magento in and mentioned. So it was really good. And then I liked
I'm impressed.
Talk before about how they managed that merchant in Poland to grow, and all over Europe. And how they built the phone app and made basically a copy of Tinder for shoes that you can...
So give a little summary of it for people that don't know what this story is.
This sounds it.
Yeah, I feel like I need to see this fleshed out.
Are the shoes going to call me back?
Well, it was about the omni-channel experience and how they have managed, how Magento has been utilized to help this merchant in Poland, and they have multi-stores, and they ship everywhere, and experience in store, and they build a mobile app, and for Android too, and which is really advanced, and it ties with the Magento APIs, and basically, of course, they extended it. It doesn't work out of the box, but it was really well thought and done. So
nice. So how exactly does the Tinder thing work?
Well, basically they had all their catalog on this app, so they wanted to offer their buyers great shopping experience through a mobile device, and they wanted to collect data from what Kuba was saying from their customers, and the more people swiping is really easy, so over time data accumulates and they build like a customer profile out of that data.
That's really cool. Yeah. So you see a shoe, if you like it, you swipe.
Yeah, you swipe. I don't know how Tinder works, and I've never been on Tinder, but
I feel thou doth protest too much, Gentian. I hear you, man. I hear you. I say the same.
Before Tinder was invented, so now I haven't had.
I don't think that stops half their users, but you know.
Yeah. Which is very true.
We keep getting on to dicey topics. Yesterday. So that's really cool. That's really cool. Now, the New York Magento community is interesting. You guys are in Poughkeepsie, which is a couple hours away.
2 hours.
2 hours away. There's I feel like the New York Magento meetup could probably be really active. I mean, you know, you've got New York City, but then the larger state.
Yeah.
Are you guys involved in the meetups? Like, what do you think what do you guys think about growing the community here in New York?
We haven't been super active, but I think that we will make it a priority moving forward. And I hear they're breaking it up where they're doing it, so it might make it easier for us to come down. Because I think it's really important for us to all interact and help out and figure out what's wrong, or just talk through things that we're all struggling with or that are going really well. It really helps give a perspective of the health of the community and how we can grow together. Yeah.
And now, as far as Shero goes, what makes you guys unique as an agency? Is there obviously we talked about content strategy, but as far as the types of clients you have or things like that, what do you guys have any specialties or?
Yeah, of course. So we do a lot of integrations with POS systems. So we have a lot of brick and mortar companies that come online. So we really, understanding their perspective of being scared of doing e-commerce for the first time is a big thing for us. Health and beauty. We have a lot of women on the team, believe it or not.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, so I think that market really appeals to us, and a lot of people in that market love that we're women and we have that perspective. So that's a big thing for us. And I have a design background, so I'm very aesthetic and front-end oriented, so we do a lot of design, but front-end development is a really big thing for us as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm just over here thinking of all of the Tinder for something apps that I could build, right?
Yes.
Like everybody does Uber for this.
Yes.
I'm going to just start rolling out Tinder for something.
It's like Tinder for shoes in Alabama.
We're big, we're in Alabama. We're big for college football, right?
Tinder for whiskey.
So, like, you don't like your coach is on the hot seat.
Tinder for a coach.
Tinder for coach. So that you could basically show all the coaches in the U.S. and they could, yes, I would like to have this one. No, I wouldn't like to have that one. I've got like 6 or 7 Tinder for ideas just while I was listening to y'all talk here.
Tinder for Magento meetups. Yep. Right. Well, we've got Gary giving us the nod, so we appreciate you guys coming on. Any last things you guys want to share or ask?
I would like to say that the event, it looks great. It was like a little bit late when it was announced compared to previous years, and I'm very surprised. The turnout is great. The organization of the event is great, and I look forward to the next year's Meet Magento New York.
You're looking forward to being the premier sponsor next year?
Probably yes, and I talked to Eric even for this year, but Eric was, there is like, because we are an agency, so that might not sit well with other agencies or even any other agency, Eric
conflict of interest.
Yeah, Eric needs to figure that out, and I'm,
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing your logo splashed all over the place next year. Thanks so much, you guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Oh, an actual
Magento
real
person.
Deal. Hashtag real Magento.
Trademark. Mark Motherflippin' Brinton in the house, product manager for B2B. How the heck are you?
Doing well, doing well. Enjoying the event. It's great. It's really well organized. So everybody did a great job here. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Now
he's one of my favorite people at Magento right now because I'm digging some B2B.
B2B, it's funny. I remember meeting Mark. I think it was 3 years ago. To imagine 2 years ago. Yeah. Mark is very understated, but he comes in. I'm hearing about B2B left and right. He's a product manager. I'm super impressed with what they've done, the quality of it. I've heard left and right, a bunch of different people. What's that process been for you like, building out the B2B feature set?
It's been a lot of work, and it's great to see that we've, the release we did in 2.2, because there was a lot, maybe people don't know the backstory of how much went into that. But yeah, lots of market research and interviews with merchants and partners, really the goal with that release and what we're doing with B2B is what I say is to like build to the core, build to the center. Like every B2B merchant will have their own unique requirements and things they need to do for their business that maybe other merchants don't need to do. But we want to address as much of the center things that overlap between merchants as we can. And then, of course, our partners and community will always fill in those customization pieces. But if we can handle more of those core use cases, it'll be easier for them, faster to get their site up and do what they need.
Yeah. And for the people that aren't too familiar, real quickly, what are those features that are really the center for B2B?
Sure. So in 2.2, we've added quite a few new features. The biggest change is really with company accounts. So now instead of just individual users, you can have a company that buys from you. They can have multiple buyers, and they can manage all the buyers in their organization right from the front end without having to contact a sales rep. We can create a custom catalog in the admin and assign that to one or more companies. And then we also have a lot of other workflow type features to make it easier for them to buy, like quoting functionality, quick order, requisition lists lets them save, frequently purchased things, and rapid reorders as well. So it allows them to do those tasks they have to do frequently, just much faster and reduce that friction.
Right. So how many interviews did you do? What was that process, the market research process like?
Oh yeah, I would say it was probably in the hundreds of interviews for sure, both across, talking to industry analysts, going to events, talking to merchants, talking to partners, independent developers, just all those. Yeah.
Now with 2.2 B2B coming out, is that it for B2B, or we've got more B2B features on the horizon? What's the future look like for B2B functionality in Magento?
Yeah, so no, it's definitely not the end for Magento and B2B, of course. So we'll continue to improve it and add features to B2B. And I think it's important for people to remember, this is a huge additional set of functionality that we just rolled out, but we already have such a strong base in B2B. And if you look at what the industry analysts say, or where we're rated in like Internet Retailer B2B ranking, we're already #1 platform even before this came out. So this is just, helping to push that forward.
I'm interested to see how far that lead grows when next year rolls around and they actually consider the functionality. Literally, to be a leader before you even release the B2B packages is just insane. That's amazing accomplishment for Magento, and it's just going to continue to increase that lead when you actually have things to show.
Yeah, we believe it will. So definitely.
So you're making TJ's life a lot easier with the B2B functionality. Yes. TJ does a lot in the B2B space. What are some of your favorite features, TJ?
The negotiated pricing, the catalogs is going to be real big for us. It's just easy for people to set up and manage and to be able to have those negotiated pricing or product exclusivity. We deal with a lot of people that need to show certain products to certain customers.
Yeah.
Having all of that there. And obviously you need that core B2B ordering experience, the quick reorder, the CSV uploads. B2B buyers are in a different mindset.
Yeah.
They usually know what they're looking for, but they're also usually browsing a site with a lot more products on it.
Yeah.
So having those features like requisition lists and stuff, man, I'm pretty much geeking out over all of it.
Okay. Any features that, if you had a chance to make a request to the product manager, anything high on your list?
And I've been giving a lot of demos, and the only real complaint, and honestly I haven't checked it in the production release yet, the only complaint I got in any of the demos is that once you create a quote and you submit it, you can't edit it until the client replies.
To the merchant, you mean?
Or the merchant replies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you fat finger it and hit submit,
Yep.
You know, and people don't read, even if you like just go ahead and hit it. That's really the only concern that anyone's had with any of the features, is that somebody will make a mistake and it's an uncorrectable mistake.
Yeah, and that's great feedback. And we have received feedback from your company and also other partners, so we take that all into consideration and really appreciate that. Yeah.
Undo button might be good.
Yeah, or just some sort of way of saying, this. Now, I mean, I understand it from a workflow perspective, because once you submit it, the client sees it. But maybe some way of, maybe if the client hasn't opened it or they haven't, maybe there's some sort of accept procedure that you have at least a window of time to edit it. Or, I mean, of course, somebody will come out with a module that just allows you to edit it regardless of what the client thinks. I mean, it's not that complicated of a feature to add on a specific case if somebody needs it. But literally, that's everybody just sits there with their eyes this big when I'm going through all the functionality. I'm just amazed at what it can do.
Right. So within the B2B category, there's so many different types of businesses that fit that. There's businesses that do everything over the phone, no online presence at all. There's some that already have some B2C or to B2B in place. What do you think is the type of merchant that it just is going to be the easiest to get on board with coming online with B2B? Like, who are the ones that, what are the types of businesses that are the lowest hanging fruit as far as getting in this, implementing Magento B2B?
Yeah, so the easiest ones are really companies right now that they're not doing a lot online, and there are so many of these in across verticals. They take their orders by fax, they take them by phone. It sounds out of date, but there's so many of these companies, and they have a real need to get online, and it's a huge opportunity for them, both to get ahead of their competition, or if they don't, their competition will get ahead of them. So it's really important for them to do that. They can streamline a lot of their processes. Many of those companies have a worry that it will have an adverse impact on their sales team, and I have all these people selling now, what's going to happen to them? All the studies that we have seen and research from Forrester and other organizations says that in most cases those salespeople can be redeployed to more effective selling activities. And once they realize that they don't have to be order takers and punching thing in all the time, because it can be done from the front end, and a lot of those orders can be made self-service, especially if they're a recurring or maintenance type order, then they can go back to doing what they enjoy doing, which is actually selling and being more consultative and helping their customers find solutions that work for their businesses. So, yeah.
Right. Ultimately working on higher value stuff, increasing their own sales commissions and that kind of thing. Do you guys have any content or training material on that, to the company, hey, here's how to roll this out to your sales department. Here's how to have that conversation. Here are the type of ways you might want to structure that sales role so that they see what's happening.
I've talked to a lot of partners about it. Generally, that's what our system integrators would do as a part of training the clients to use the system. Some of that is a bit of a consultation on just the approach and the architecture, what it's going to mean for the company. Some of those are cultural issues. I think they're really important to consider when you're doing a build to make it successful.
Awesome. Well, Mark,
did you happen to catch my talk on B2B yesterday?
No, I did not. But I did see a lot of tweets about your talk on B2B, so I feel like I at least got some of it. Yeah. So.
He's gotten.
You guys have a lot of wins here.
There's a lot of win. There's a lot of win.
If you had really long hair, it would just be.
Yeah, that's why TJ's hair is blowing in the wind, looking beautiful.
I should have got a haircut, but no, it's good.
No, he's gotten too much positive feedback on his talk. It's gone to his head.
Okay.
It was
Don't
on
mind
B2B.
him. It was on B2B.
The guy didn't see it.
Yeah. Well, he'll catch it in the. He'll catch the video. Yeah, there's 75 talks on B2B. So
mine was business. It wasn't technical, so I get it.
Mark, any questions that you have for the Magento community? Maybe product feedback or things that you're wondering how to prioritize, challenges? I mean, obviously you've done a ton of interviews, so you might not want any more feedback. But any questions that you have for anybody out there?
No, we always take more feedback. You can always find me on Twitter. It's probably the easiest way to find me if you want to send in any product feedback. That's fine. The other thing I would highlight is I do some other things besides B2B. So one thing I'm working on is what we call MSI, or multi-source inventory. And it's the first large-scale project we've done that's been developed entirely by the community. So that project is in progress right now, and any community developers can contribute to it. It's a great way to get involved with Magento, get to know some people of the core team. A lot of people are nervous about, how do I put in a pull request, or what would that be like? And I think the people that have gone through that process have been really happy with it. And what they say is it's a great experience to learn more about Magento, to develop as a developer. You get to work with our core developers. You know, we review your code. They're nice. They're not too difficult. So definitely something for people to consider if they want to contribute to Magento. That's a great opportunity to step up and take on.
Nice. Really impressive, just the support of the community doing pull requests, everything from the MSI project to community engineering, everything they're doing. So really impressed with that. I didn't realize you're the product manager for MSI.
Yeah. Nice. Right.
That's awesome. Really exciting. Well, Mark, thank you so much. Gary's giving us the nod. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
Oh,
Do you want to let me come on in, step into the hot seat here, introduce yourself?
You want to? We've been on for about an hour 40. You want to go about 20 minutes and then take a little break or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Go ahead.
Okay, cool.
Take us home.
For sure. My name's Nick Kushner. I work for 121 e-commerce. We're a Magento agency, so we do from scratch builds. We do maintenance. Yeah, that's who we are.
121. So is Pablo or Ben running around here anywhere?
No Pablo and Ben.
Yeah.
Not here.
Okay. They just sent you. I'm
yeah,
disappointed.
sorry guys. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Another person I've met online and now in person, which is really cool. Kalen. He's like, who the heck are you?
Who is this guy? Oh, He's the oh, you're that
guy. He's like, who are you?
Very cool.
Yeah, man. Good to meet. Yeah. So how are you? So where are you guys based?
So we're based in Cleveland, Ohio.
Nice. And how are you liking the event so far?
I love it. I think it's great. I met a lot of people. Got to meet a bunch of people that I kind of know online, but I don't actually know. So it's cool to do that. And I think the talks are really good. Your talk, I really like the B2B talk.
Damn it, Nick.
That was one of my favorite ones.
I'm surprised TJ hasn't dropped his mic yet. His head's getting big. He's
really good. It was really good.
Yeah. That's awesome. What were some of the key takeaways you liked about it?
You know, I really like honestly the messaging, because I feel like when you talk to a lot of B2B companies, it's hard to explain the opportunity of B2B, because these are some older companies that have their sales reps. They don't really want to change. But when you made it kind of like, you know, the railroad compared to taking like a carriage with like an ox, it was really funny. And I think it's a good way to say, like, you guys are missing an opportunity. You're taking this old way, and there are people just shooting right past you. And dysentery. And I bring it up. You always have to bring that up to B2B companies. Dysentery, it can't happen.
I feel like there could be an Oregon Trail component.
I had an Oregon. It was. The talk. What I did was, I talked about timing and moving into a market, and then I talked about the migration to the West. 1848, they discovered gold in California. 1862, you had the Homestead Act. They literally were giving away land. All you had to do was show up.
Yeah.
And you had all of these immigrants pouring into the U.S. You know, the East Coast was full of first, second, third generation immigrants come to this country looking for opportunity. That's all they wanted. Population's growing, infrastructure couldn't handle it, not a lot of opportunities in the East. So you had...
Don't give the whole talk right now.
I'm giving the abridged version. But you've got opportunity in the West with quick riches with gold and Homestead Act free land. And they had to basically take a Conestoga wagon and a wagon train out west wherever they were going. And then, of course, you know, their risk, we talked about markets and reward and risk and competition, and the risk is dying, you know, so the big Oregon Trail slide with you have died of dysentery. And then I just kind of paralleled that to the B2B and how typically there wasn't a lot of people doing it. It was low reward. It was high risk, the worst kind of market. The reward is going up. You know, industry analysts are predicting huge growth of B2B e-commerce. And then you have ideal market conditions typically in an emerging market when technological innovation lowers risk. And I talked about how Magento B2B, the leading e-commerce platform, releasing B2B functionality lowers the risk of getting into the market, which makes it the ideal time to move.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I thought it was great. I think it's really important to get the messaging right, because some of these companies, they don't know what the opportunity is and they don't know how to get involved. So I think that was a really good way to approach it. But yeah, one-to-one is really moving into B2B e-commerce, and that was one of the things I wanted to come and learn more about the B2B e-commerce space, meet people. I actually just met a guy who's doing B2B e-commerce, really funny. So you read all the reports, and there's certain things like people who buy using B2B e-commerce, they buy more and they buy new things because, I mean, it's right in front of them. And this guy was figuring it out right in front of me. He's like, wait, we just got this order. These people have never ordered this before, but they're making larger orders now. So it's actually cool to see it happen.
Well, there's lots more opportunity, and if they're just faxing in orders, they're literally just going to order what they need to order and what they've always ordered. And if you get them in an e-commerce system in a non-obtrusive way, you can market other things to them. You know, they're buying this widget. Here's a very similar widget that maybe is a little better or a little different. Maybe they go ahead and pick that one up too. So it definitely just makes sense to have them in some sort of sales funnel, rather than just having those push orders through fax or telephone or sales reps that you really don't have any option to market to them.
Right, yeah, very cool. Did you guys purposely put it by the vent because it's like blowing my hair? I feel like it's making me look really cool
we
right
get
now.
that, yeah.
And I'm really enjoying it.
No,
Thank you so much.
We actually set up and we're pointed at the corner. And we're like, this is a terrible backdrop, but we don't have a lot of space. It's miserable.
It had a very distinct Iranian prison vibe in that direction.
Gray wall.
So.
And then Eric's like, Eric Mage Mojo's like, why don't you just turn it around and face the hall? And we're like, that's why he gets paid the big bucks.
Right, that's Eric, man.
So we just turned it around, and the vent is just, I mean, I don't mind it because with the lights and all of this talking, I'm liable to start sweating, so it works for me.
Yeah. So one-to-one e-commerce. E-commerce or commerce? One-to-one e-commerce. You mentioned you guys are getting into B2B. What makes you guys unique as far as an agency goes?
For sure. So we started, you know Ben a little bit. Ben started really on the client side. So he worked for a company and he was managing their e-commerce. So I think he has a really unique outlook on what a merchant wants from their developer. One thing we pride ourselves in is we're not just developers. You don't give us a task and we do it. It's not like a ticket system. We try to focus on what is your business need, what is your business goal, and how will the development help you, and will it help you? So we like to do that. We like to give suggestions on, a lot of people come and say we need to do this, and do you really need to do this? Where's the data from? Where's the data for that? Is this really going to help your business? So I think that's what we're really good at.
Awesome, I love it. Well, Gary's giving us the nod here.
Yeah, I think it may be time to take a little bit of a break.
Appreciate you coming on, man. Thanks so much. Great to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And awesome, man.
Tell Ben and Pablo I said hello.
Yeah, say hi to Ben for me.
All right, have a
guys. Well, I think that we're going to wrap up today's session.
I guess we're done for the day.
By the way, did I send the email? I feel like I didn't send the email. Dang it.
We didn't promote this at all.
I'll send it afterwards.
At least you got the tweet. So maybe,
yeah, we got
maybe
the
somebody's
tweet.
watching.
Just literally realized that right now. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to start again, or we have the keynote?
We do have the keynote fairly early, so it's an early day. We probably call it quits. This might be a wrap for our Meet Magento live stream, which getting better at it every time. I think having a co-host definitely helps because I zoned out on a couple of those and you just kind of took it.
Well, I bring a level of professionalism that takes us to a higher...
You do have a little more experience with the asking open-ended questions and sticking a mic in someone's face.
What I'm not good at all is giving a talk whatsoever. And you actually, you've got a fair bit of game in that department. I got to give you that. You've gotten props from multiple people.
I'm thinking back, though. I feel like I should have got some sort of...
We're going to wrap.
I feel like I should have got some sort of petition going to get everyone to sign so I could give that talk at Imagine.
Yeah.
But
what you should do, you should run ads against that talk on Facebook, target B2B, target stuff like that. I think that would do amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm assuming they videoed it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
they better have.
I may just have to shoot my own in the office.
Oh, yeah.
I may get some jack. I may sit down in the chair.
Yeah.
And just kind of give the e-commerce-aholic B2B talk.
Well, TJ, thanks so much.
All right, man. I
appreciate it.
appreciate it.
Good stuff. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and we'll catch you at our next live stream.
Well, I mean, I guess
whenever that
Imagine is maybe
we'll see.
I don't know.
Keep an eye out. We just might do it. Who knows?
Who knows?
Thanks, guys. Yeah, sorry, we're all done.